In this episode, we're talking about making the case for car dealers. Do you make the case for our industry to your customers? We'll talk about it in this episode of Down Payment.
Welcome to Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers. Prepare to learn something new about the industry that keeps us moving.
Check out all our podcast content on our social media channels. We are at Down Payment Podcast on YouTube, Down Payment Podcast on Instagram, and Down Payment Pod on X. Welcome back to Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers. And in this episode, we're going to talk about public relations and our industry. One of the challenges that we all have as car dealers is our negative public perception that has persisted for decades. Our industry is stigmatized and we need to change that. And in this episode, we're going to show you a little video where we make the case for car dealers and the importance of our industry. We have this little clip that we're going to show you now.
Imagine a world where car dealers do not exist, where their stores close and their lots go empty. No service departments open for repairs. No clean vehicles for sale. And where buying a car becomes a lonely journey. There's a better way. A car deal should start with a test drive and end with a handshake. Dealers are your guide in the complicated world of cars. We repair them in trusted shops, all to make buying a car a happy moment. We are proud to be a car dealer.
In that short reel, we sought to make an argument for our industry, that dealers bring value to their customers. And if you didn't have a chance to see the podcast, to see that reel, feel free to check it out on our YouTube at Down Payment Podcast. If you're only listening to the audio version of this, it's worth checking out. It's important that at every opportunity, we make the case for our industry. We come from, unfortunately, an industry that has been stigmatized for decades. And so at every marketing opportunity, every communication opportunity, anytime we are interfacing with the public, we need to be making the argument for our industry that we bring value. We bring value to our communities. We bring value to our customers. We bring value to other businesses. Cars are inherently tricky, and we absorb some of the risk associated with cars. So we take these cars in. We don't exactly know what's wrong with them when we buy them. We make an assessment of what we think the value is. We add value to it. We recondition these cars. We make repairs. We clean them, and then we market them. We communicate about their existence to the public so that a person that's looking for that specific inventory can identify it. And we streamline what would otherwise be a very difficult transaction for most customers to do by themselves without the facilitation of a dealer. Our industry, though deeply stigmatized, is absolutely crucial to our economy. We are the conduit for transportation for the vast majority of America. We need to make those arguments at every opportunity we get. And with this little reel, it was our attempt at making that message. Feel free to run with it. Feel free to share that message. Feel free to share it on your social media. Feel free to make your own version of it. But let's use this as an opportunity to create ideas, to make arguments for our industry. Our industry's survival fundamentally relies upon it. And with that, it's been another episode of Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers. Check out our podcast on all our social media channels. We are at Down Payment Podcast on YouTube, Down Payment Podcast on Instagram, and Down Payment Pod on X.
Thank you for listening. Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers, is a production of Meta Financial Services Incorporated.